Hi everyone, happy Wednesday the 11th to you. So kind of an impromptu, not really planned video, but I was scrolling through LinkedIn and you know how you can see those giant picture things that just have a whole bunch of text on them. Well, this is something that I read and thought, that's actually kind of cool, and really put some thought into it. Anyway, this quote says, and I apologize, I don't know where it came from. It's not cited. So if you're the person who said this thing, many kudos and credits to you. I'm sorry, please don't sue me. But here's the quote. It says, "Always remember that leadership is a privilege. When you're in a leadership role, your influence may affect the trajectories of people's entire careers and often their lives." So kind of deep, right? But I think as I'm talking to leaders, be it in the restaurant industry or outside of the restaurant industry, that's usually the brain goes to like, oh man, the drive-throughs in red, or I'm drowning, or I'm waiting on, I don't know, the fries to get here. I'm out of ketchup, right? It's sticky. How do I manage this cost or labor? And we get so stuck in like the restaurant things that we forget about the people. So here's my impromptu reminder to remember the people. The people are what make the whole thing happen. So I wrote down a couple notes here, but first one is, as a leader, you're somewhat responsible for people's financial well-being, right? So we talked a little bit before about how if you're a leader, it's your job to coach and train and develop and meet people where they are and show them the path and help them walk the path and be able to do the job that ultimately they're getting paid for. And someone's making $10 an hour and their job is to do whatever. If they can't do that job successfully or at the level that merits that $10 an hour, well, they're not getting paid that $10 an hour. They're going to be taken off the schedule. You know, that stinks. So if someone's taken off the schedule and they're relying on those 25 hours a week, $250 a week at $10 an hour to help pay for lights or rent or mortgage or groceries or gas or whatever. So somewhat there's a connection because you didn't train that person. They're not able to perform the task they're getting paid for. Ultimately, they're no longer scheduled, which decreases their income, which means that their basic needs, food, water, shelter, electricity, gas, all that stuff, insurance, all that stuff's not being met. So as a leader, you are charged. If not, I am charging you with doing everything in your power to make sure that the people working under you, or another way of wording it, the people you're responsible for supporting, are successful in whatever they're supposed to be doing. Another thing, people's self-esteem and people's self-worth. As a leader, your leadership influence in their lives. You have this, I can't even think of the good word, but like you've got this authority over their lives. And if you go around and just trash them left and right, even playing or playfully, you can hurt them over time. And I get that sounds like something we'd talk about in like a youth group or something. You know, your words matter, but they do. So you've got the power over people to say, hey, great job, or you could have done better, great job. You know, same message. So one of my favorites is a great job versus not bad. Okay, what does that mean, not bad? Not good, but it's not bad. Am I one step above bad? Or if you're trying to convey success and you say great job or even good job, that's a lot better than not bad. So even though you're trying to communicate the same thing, the different words will change how that person is felt. Great sentence. Those words will affect how that person receives those words. So again, if you catch yourself saying, well, hey, you didn't do the worst job, or not bad at all, you know, stuff like that, you're going to hurt that person. Just say good job, say great job, say well done, say things that are affirming and that bring people up, right? Make them feel good about themselves. And that's especially true of some of those formative years. Let's say you're working with a teenager or you are a teenager. The world poops on people enough. Don't be someone who verbally poops on other people. Just say nice things. And if you're not saying nice things, then stop it. I'll take off my youth pastor hat now. Another thing that you get to be responsible or your influence affects is your team members' career paths or personal development or training for the next role. They're not just working in a restaurant. They're learning new skills, be it FIFO, LIFO, customer service skills, eye contact, staying connected, conversation, cleanliness, stewardship, punctuality, responsibility, accountability, how to wash and dry clothes, how to not show up in a nasty, disgusting, sweaty, putrid uniform. What does a clean floor look like? As a leader, you're drawing attention to the details, and the details matter. Grooming is a huge one. So your restaurant may not have strict grooming standards, but if and when they leave and they go and sit down for another jobs interview, the person interviewing that person will be looking at grooming. Are they clean? Is their shirt wrinkled? Are they cleanly shaven? Do they stink, right? So I remember one of my most awkward conversations as a young manager was teaching someone who was 16 or 17 about deodorant and how that worked. And the toxicity around that guy was, no pun intended, the reputation this guy had. People didn't like him. They didn't want to be near him because he had this foul odor around him. What do you think that did for his self-esteem and self-worth? No one ever taught the guy to go to Walmart and buy some Ocean Surf. So I sat him down. I shared with this guy, when you come to work, you've got to be clean. You've got to wash your clothes. Let's focus on being cleanly shaven. Oh, and by the way, there's this thing called deodorant. I need you to use it. This guy was not even aware of what people were saying around him. He just knew people avoided him. And his self-esteem was next to nothing. But you know what? I had that super difficult conversation with him, which at the end of it was not hard at all. I wasn't trained in that conversation. I had a general idea of what I was going to talk about. I think I was 2 years older than the guy. So who am I to have this conversation? But I just said, dude, shave, clean clothes. You wash and dry your clothes the night before. Make sure they're straight. Put them on a hanger or throw them in the dryer 10 minutes before you leave for work. Make sure that looks good. Shave and wear deodorant. And then literally the next day, he did all of those things. And immediately team members started noticing. And team members started going to him and saying, hi, how are you today? And some of it, they just wanted to prove that they wanted proof that what their buddy said about his odor was true. So they did that to verify for themselves. Trust but verify. Good job, Skill. But I feel like I had such an impactful influence into this guy's life by just talking about basic hygiene. And it sounds silly, but you know what? That stuff matters. And if I hadn't had that conversation with him, who would have had that conversation? Would that conversation have taken place? Because you know what? His parents weren't having that conversation with him. His teachers, counselors, co-workers, whoever else was in his life, aunt, uncle, they weren't having that discussion with him. But I did, and I was just his leader in a fast food restaurant. There we go. Trajectory altering. So yeah, career paths, personal development, training for the next role. People's lives, literally. I'm going to cliffhang that and take a sip of water. I remember this one time where I got this call, probably 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. I'd gone home for the day, and one of my team members was bawling on the phone. And I asked her, what's going on? Why are you calling me? Why is the manager on duty not calling me? I'm immediately in safety and security mode. I've got like sirens and klaxons in my brain. It's like the sub's taking on water. What are we going to do? That's the panic I'm hearing in her voice, and that's where I am as the restaurant manager. Even though I'm not even there, I'm trying to figure out what on earth's going on. And what she told me was her ex-boyfriend, as of like 2 days before that, they broke up, and then he made a comment about ending his own life. And I guess she took that pretty seriously, because when she tried calling him 47 times before that, he was not answering. No one else could get a hold of this guy. No one else had any idea what to do. So this poor girl calls me and says, help, my boyfriend needs help. I'm afraid he's gone. So, and I remember that just hit me like a sledgehammer to the chest. I'm thinking, oh man, what do I, really? Like, why is this happening to me? And so what I did is I called the police, called 911, and just said, hey, I know this guy. I think he might have taken his own life based on what the ex-girlfriend is telling me. And, you know, weird conversation to 911 or any type of phone operator. But they sent the police out, and he didn't answer his door. So the police kicked in the door and found him. He had fallen asleep on the couch, and his phone was on silent. So I'm glad that was the case. I am also completely aware that stuff happens. People do try to hurt themselves. And sometimes as a restaurant leader, you are face to face with those people, or you're just one phone call away. And it's on you to potentially make a decision to call that person and help them through it, help them process something. Because you know what? They're a teenager and they spend more time with you than they do your parents or a teacher. Who are they going to trust? Oftentimes it's you. So you put on that leadership hat and be ready for some of the stuff that comes. So if you're not at least caring and seeking help from your mentors when stuff like this comes up, then maybe you should reconsider the role you're in. But I'd encourage you, develop yourself, figure out some of those emotional connections things and some of the emotional intelligence stuff, and really look at what's the health of your team and how can you lead them in a great way, because their lives may very well depend on it. That's heavy. But people's futures in general. So we talked about some of the financial stuff, the self-esteem, the self-worth, literal life and death, career paths, personal development, deodorant, things of that nature. All these things go together, and you never know when. I've had this happen before, haven't worded this very well, but there have been times in my life where I've wanted to have a conversation with a team member, one of those really good career, life-altering conversations, because I could just speak so much life into their lives, and that person started no calling, no showing, never showed up again, never returned the uniform. I couldn't get a hold of them. I missed out on the opportunity to have a life-giving conversation with people. And I don't know where they are now. No idea what they're doing, what they're up to. I hope they're still around, but I took from that, if there's going to be a discussion, do your prep work, prepare, but have that as expeditiously as possible. Take your time, listen, help that person, encourage them. Do all of those things, and don't delay. Have haste, because you never know what's going on in those people's lives outside the restaurant unless they share it. So I used to work with someone. He would say, what was it? See it, say it. So you see a behavior, you see something wrong, say it. Hey man, I saw that you kind of treated this person wrong. That's super out of character. What's going on in your life? So again, I'm going to go back to that quote. Remember that leadership is a privilege. When you're in a leadership role, your influence may affect the trajectories of people's entire careers and often their lives. Completely true. My 18 years of experience in the restaurant industry says that, and I'm sure quotes like this were around in 2003 or so when I was learning how to be a human being in the restaurant industry. I wish I had read this and taken a quote like this a little bit more to heart and considered it. So I hope that was a light video and not super dark and heavy, but man, what you do matters. What you say matters to people for a lot of different reasons. So again, unscripted video. Hope you got something valuable from it. Like, subscribe, all that stuff, whatever. I appreciate it. But thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more. Bye.